Hey guys, Baron here, and I wanted to come on here today and apologize about the lack of posts recently. I have been completely without a secondary light for quite some time. I usually use these Intertech lights. They're foldable, uh, really nice lights, and apparently the company that makes them, Intertech, does not make them anymore, so I cannot buy them. So I'll have to do with a new light that I just ordered and it should get here sometime tomorrow or the next day. So that will be when the new posts start popping up. But in today's video, I wanted to quickly go over my current collection of the United States Navy Diaphragm Mk.V gas mask, spanning from 1954 to 1983. Now, my current collection consists of one 1954, two 1955s, and one 1983. You can probably tell which is which. Starting down here, we have the earliest Mk.V in my collection. Now, I don't have a carrier for this. I will order one very soon. But this is a Navy Diaphragm Mk.V dated... Sorry, I'm just getting the filters out of the way. 1954 by DT. Now, it is still not yet known in the community what DT actually is, the company. So you can see it's December of 1954, first week of December 1954 by DT. Now, this is 1 year before, or 1 year after the prototype phase of the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V gas mask, as seen with the 1953 dated Navy Diaphragm Mk.V that has been floating around the community for quite some time, and is still probably in the hands of Nick Sherman. It was a 1953 B.F. Goodrich prototype, possibly, because I know that B.F. Goodrich did make filters for the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V, the C1 filters, in 1952, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong on that. I do know some examples of the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V that are dated Navy Diaphragm Mk.V filters that are dated 1952. Earliest filters I have for the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V are dated. It's May. So May of 1955 are the earliest C1 filters for the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V. The Navy Diaphragm Mk.V, or I'm just going to call it the Mk.V for the rest of the video, was first developed sometime in the early 50s, but initially fielded for the United States Navy in 1957. And used all the way up until 1984 until it was fully replaced in the Air Force, in the Navy, with the MCU 2P chemical biological mask. Now, the later 1980s examples of the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V do actually say on the carriers, Navy mask chemical biological Navy Diaphragm Mk.V. Now, the earlier ones, because they weren't being phased out by the MCU, did actually say USN gas mask Navy Diaphragm Mk.V. So they were said as a gas mask and not a chemical biological mask. These later ones on the left, they do use these M1 anti-fogging kits, the green ones, and the earlier ones use the MSA fog-proof paste or fog-proof liquid. The worst condition one in my collection is probably either this one or this one. I'd say this one because it's in such bad condition, but this one is completely lacerated in multiple places. This is being the absolute best condition Mk.V in my collection, and coincidentally it is the earliest, because this one has like a laceration in the peripheral seal, unfortunately, and it is a quite later example, so I'm not sure what that's about. But the differences between the earlier Navy Diaphragm Mk.V and the later ones are, of course, the... Oh, let me put the flash on really quickly. The Class B gray rubber inlet valve, I would say that's what it's called, and the M3 or M2 1016 style outlet valve. It's a C15 outlet valve, where the later ones use this strange C15 style. I don't know if you could call it a C15 style, but it's a later style outlet valve, and you can see the earlier ones from the 1950s use the M2 1016 outlet valve. And of course, the later ones did use a black rubber inlet valve. You can see right there. Also, the earlier ones have this like weird line right here on the diaphragm, where the later ones do not. These filters, these C1 filters, are made by General Tire and Rubber. These are made by General Tire and Rubber, and I cannot tell. ILC Dover, IDL, possibly ILC Dover. I cannot tell though. They're dated 1984, so that's like 1 year after these masks were supposed to be replaced. If I remember correctly, there was a somewhere that still used these masks way after they were supposed to be replaced with the MCU, and then the Army or the Navy made them replace them. But yeah, I can't remember what that is. But here is a sealed canister, General Tire Rubber Company. This is dated 1957, Logansport, Indiana. It's C1 canister. And then here is a different manufacturer, Acushnet from January of 1970. So that's much later. So Acushnet made their filters in the 70s. And I would hope to get some BF Goodrich filters soon, but I'd have to wait to get $70 about. But I do have to get a filter and a fog-proof liquid, or a carrier, sorry, I said filter. I gotta get a carrier for this, and fog-proof liquid for these two. I'm not aware of any other accessories other than possibly an M5A1 ointment kit. I do know of those being issued in earlier examples. I'm not sure about the later ones. Maybe M5A3s or M5A4s. I'm not too sure. But here's the inside of this one. I do actually have the actually, another difference is these terrible head harnesses. These ones that have like the really thick back to them. These ones tear horribly. Anytime I've ever had a later one like this, they have teared horribly. I've had a 60s example that's very similar to this one. And these head harnesses love to just crack and tear. And the ones from DT in the earlier dates do not like to tear at all. I mean, they do, but not very common. These are the earlier DT ones that are like much more flexible and do not tear like quite a lot. Head harness for this one, it's kind of weird. Must just be because it's an earlier one. Sorry about the toothbrush I used to clean these masks. It has this like weird patch on the back. I'm not sure what that's about. It's another DT example. And then this one is actually made by LPN in 1983. I have no clue what LPN could actually stand for. And the only damage to this actual mask is the tear right here in the peripheral seal, making it obsolete or moot. So you cannot use this one. I wouldn't use it anyway, but you just cannot use this due to the fact that the peripheral seal is damaged. These filters are a 63mm thread. Well, it's not a thread, it's a pouch, or it's a skirt system, so I wouldn't say it's a thread, but it's a 63mm skirt system. January of 1984 by possibly Aussie Dover. These I don't like the later ones because they don't fit on the face that well, and the filters are very weird. Also, if you do end up trying to clean these masks and take the filters off, don't do it with the later examples because you'll probably end up slicing your finger open. So, because the little edge around the filters does tend to cut you. So don't try to do that. Do it with the later or earlier examples because the skirts around them are are better, I would say. Or do it with a DT example because the rubber on the DT examples are much thinner and much more flexible than the later Alpine or maybe a Acushnet examples. I don't believe MSA ever manufactured these. They did make a lot of earlier Navy Diaphragm gas masks. I believe they made all Navy Diaphragm gas masks, along with other companies, of course. But yeah, you see my obsession with the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V gas mask. I'll probably put up a prototype picture. I did put up a prototype picture of myself unboxing this one. I put up a prototype picture as the thumbnail of that. That was a prototype of the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V gas mask, and this is 1 year after the prototype of the Navy Diaphragm Mk.V. So I'll hopefully be able to get some prototype filters for this and maybe some more early examples. That's honestly about it for this video, and hopefully I'll be able to get some more later examples, possibly some 60s ones, so maybe a midlife design. This one is in pretty bad condition, of course. You can see the lens is in very bad shape. Inside of this one, pretty bad. Filters are completely cracked and torn to shreds. I did go over this with some silicone lubricant, but it didn't work that well. But yeah, I guess this has been Baron from Baron's Military Masks, and hopefully we'll get some more Navy Diaphragm Mk.V gas masks. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys.